Welcome back, everyone, to our Let's Play series of Motorsport Manager. Now, unfortunately, I'm having to begin the video here as qualifying has just ended. Reason being, I had some issues with the recording that I did for the first half of the video. You know, if you have been following along with our Let's Play series, you know that generally the first half of the video is about developing new parts, working on reliability, performance, that type of thing. We also scout any new drivers and talk about general strategy and what we're looking forward to for this race, and then, of course, for the remainder of the season. Well, I had some sound issues, so I'm not going to be able to use the first portion of the recording. Fortunately, I was able to catch that before I recorded this race because it actually happened in the previous video as well. I had recorded the first half of that video and the second half of the video, which included, of course, the race, and was able to win that race. But unfortunately, I can't use the video. There's no sound on it. So here we are in our next video. So we did get the win in the last race, but Sergio crashed out of that race. So only one car was able to finish for us. And of course, that was Rafael. So in this race, again, I recorded the first half as I normally would have, where we developed new brakes. I believe 2, almost 3 brake cycles. We actually recorded and got through. So we're up nearly 100 points in performance now on brakes. So we'll take a look at that more in depth in the next video, now that I know that the first half of this one is unusable. So we got some brake development done. We also did some more scouting of drivers for future preparations. So a lot of things going on, you know, signing new sponsors, all of that kind of thing that unfortunately I won't be able to show you guys for this video. So I apologize for that. It's definitely not how I intended. I intended to show you each and every race for this particular season as we're going for the team championship, but it's not worked out that way due to some other issues. So with that in mind, I'll show you. I hate the auto scroll here that won't allow it to stay at the top, because that's where we are right now. Rafael ended up in first position. It was a bit of a tricky session in qualifying because it started off raining, and it wasn't until the last maybe 3 minutes of the session that the track dried out, and that's when I sent both drivers out. Rodriguez got in a great clean lap, and he starts on the pole by about 2/10, and then Sergio falls back a little bit to 5th, but again, about 6/10 off the pace, so not very much at all. So both drivers starting out in great position. Let's go ahead and skip through a few screens here. So the race will start off, looks like, in the sunshine, and we've got another 400,000 that we're hoping to get here. Let's go ahead and let it auto pick there. But then, as normal, I have to come in and change this out because soft tires aren't what we're going to be using. We're going to be using the super softs. Now, you also notice that I've got a bonus available for intermediates. Well, what happened is practice session, like qualifying, was mix of wet and dry weather. So I had to actually start out practice session on intermediate tires, moving on later to the super soft. So I didn't get very much of any bonus for each one, but fortunately I did get a little bit of bonus on the super softs, as well as I spent the entire time in race trim. So we get the full 15% bonus there, which was awesome. So we'll go ahead and confirm that. Now both cars have the same bonuses. We'll take a look at the setups. Okay, 96% for Sergio. Again, he'll be starting 5th. Tire choice will be the super softs. Normally I would use 2 sets of tires here in qualifying, 1 in practice, but we only got the 1 dry set in practice because of the rain. So now, where do we start on fuel? Well, I'm looking at doing stints of 6, 6, and 5. Now, not necessarily in that order. That's what I'm planning on doing anyway. But so we're planning on 6, 6, and 5. What I may do here for Sergio is go 5 laps on this first stint. But let's take a look at what the weather has got for us. It looks like no water on track that I can foresee. But if I look at around lap 6 or 7, I can see that the track grip drops dramatically. Now, what that tells me is that there's rain coming. It doesn't necessarily show up here, but it tells me here that, I mean, that's the only reason I can think of for the track grip to drop. And this gives us a great opportunity to look at our new HQ building. Again, I talked about this in the portion of the video that's now unusable due to the sound issue, but we now have, because of our HQ building for forecasting, we now can see out, as best I can tell, double as far as we could. We could before see out to about lap 3 or so. Now we can see out to about lap 6, maybe 7-ish, somewhere in that range. So that's great for us because it gives us an opportunity to see what's coming ahead for an entire stint. Normally a stint for us is somewhere between 6 to 7 laps, generally at most tracks. And here it's going to be about the same thing. But now this tells me at about lap 6, it looks like it's going to start raining based off of the track grip here. So what I'm going to plan on doing is running 6 laps for both drivers, but I'm going to give them enough to run 7. Okay, just in case we're a little bit off on our forecasting. Now, the bad part about this is if they're both running up front, this could stack them up in the pits, and I don't want that. But I may not have much choice. Maybe bring one in on lap 6, one in on lap 7. But again, we'll see how that plays out. So if I want 6 laps here, then I need a little bit over 8 on this number, okay, to get me the full amount. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this at 9. And that would get me, actually, yeah, that'll get me 6 laps, but no more. And I think we'll be fine there because by the time we get there, we should know what our next stint is going to be. So we're going to leave that at 9. Let's go ahead and confirm that, and we'll move over to Rodriguez and see that he's starting on the pole. Setup is 95%, which isn't quite. I'd like to see at least 96, 97. Preferably, but we'll go ahead and leave that alone. You can see I didn't monkey around with it too much because of various factors that were going on during practice and then qualifying. But you can't complain too much when you're on the pole. So I'm going to go ahead and give him a little extra fuel. This should get me enough easily for 7 laps. So I'm going to plan on pitting at lap 6 and lap 7, and we'll see if this rain is really going to last an entire stint, maybe the rest of the race, or if it's just going to last for maybe a few laps. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at our driver's strategy. We're going to start off the race with both drivers pushing and in full overtake mode as far as fuel. Now, we'll see how the driving style goes as we see how much tire heat is generated into the tires. We want to keep it roughly around the center line on tire heat, but if it gets a little bit higher than that, I won't worry too much about it. Okay, let's go ahead and spin this around. I like to keep our pit lane at the top where I can see it. Okay, Rodriguez looks like he's starting off in 2nd. Okay, we need him to stay there. I believe the AI are probably on full attack mode right now. Okay, no, actually they're not. So not bad at all. Okay, we'll wait to see where our tire heat goes. And as it's coming up to the center line, looks like we're going to need to... Yeah, we're doing great there. Okay, both cars have reached the center line on tire heat. So I'm going to go ahead and drop these back to neutral while I'm thinking about it. And then we're going to go ahead and keep an eye on our forecast. It does look like some clouds are coming in, and I believe I see some rain ahead. Yeah, there we go. You can see some water that's coming in on the track. Looks like around lap 7 or so. But after that, looks like we're going to have some serious water on the track. And again, as you can see, the option coming in on lap 8. Now it looks like it's going to be continuing to increase as Rodriguez is now fighting for the lead. Now you can see both of the front 2 cars, as we look at the mini map, are well out ahead of the pack. And that is the benefit of having some clean air and a fast car. All right, so right now Rodriguez is stalking. We're on lap 4, so we're coming up on decision time. Okay, so no grip, so it looks like the rain is going to last a little while. Okay, tire heat I see going up a little bit on both cars, but I'm not going to worry too much about that as we're attempting to take the lead. Are we going to be able to do it? Hang in there. Nope, not quite. In the meantime, Sergio is back in 5th. Okay, again, water on the track. Okay, it looks like it's going to continue as we take the lead. Okay, so far so good. We're on lap 6 right now. Let's see. Now, Sergio is, well, he's going to have to pit actually this next time by. So we're going to have to make a decision here. What are we going to do? Looks like on lap 7 is when it's going to start to rain. I'm going to take a chance here. Do I want to take a chance and come in twice? Because the option is I could say, hey, we're going to go ahead and run a couple more laps when we come in here, run 2 more laps under the dry condition. Then when it starts to rain, we'll jump back in. Actually, I don't think we're going to be able to do that. I don't think that is realistic for us. So what I'm going to do is put on intermediates because it doesn't show that it's going to get much, maybe not quite to half. So I'm going to put on the intermediates, and we are going to get enough fuel. Wow, it's going to be a very short stint at the end. Let's take a look. So for 11 laps, we're going to need about 15. I'm going to go ahead and put this in if I can. Okay, I can't. All right, so now we've got a decision. So we can back down a little bit on our engine and try to make it all the way through, or we can just say, look, we're going to have to make this in 2 more stops. And I think we're going to try to do this simply in 2 more stops. We got 11 laps, that's 5 and 6. So it comes out actually at a pretty good place. This is where we were going to be pitting really anyway. It's just that the rain throws us for a bit of a loop here. So with this much fuel, we can make it another 6 laps. We may not need to, depending on what the rain does. Take a quick look at our condition. Everything looks to be pretty good there. We'll go ahead and do that. So we're going to have him come in and put on these tires. Now, we're breaking this apart, so we don't have to worry about the 10 to 12 laps here. Okay, let's go ahead and set him up. And we're going to keep an eye on how everything is going. So he's already set up. Okay, so now we know that if we let this go a little bit more. Okay, Sergio is coming in. Let's see about the water. Looks like he's going to run 1 lap that's not going to be any good on those tires. That is unfortunately just where we are with the brakes. Now, this gives us an opportunity to set up our pit stop for Rodriguez. And it looks like this rain is going to continue for at least what I would say is our next stint. So I'm going to go ahead and approach it as such. Okay, let's go ahead and put our intermediates on. And we're going to try to run another 6 laps. Or at least plan to run another 6 laps anyway. And we'll see how the rain does. That should get us our 6 laps. Part condition. Okay, a little worried about the rear wing here, but we're going to go for it. Okay, so let's go ahead and have him go on full attack mode for this final lap. Okay, again, I'm not crazy about the tires, putting those intermediate tires on Sergio. Looks like about a lap to 2 laps ahead of where I would actually prefer to see them. Okay, we're going to ignore him. Okay, this should be pretty good strategy here. Okay, first and foremost, let's go ahead and back this down to push. All right, so everything looks pretty good there as far as tire heat goes. All right, we are now back in second. And in the meantime, poor Sergio is languishing. All right, but if you notice, right now, everybody is still on, except for just a couple of cars at the back of the pack. Everybody is still on these dry weather tires. So we're falling back a little bit, but all these guys are coming into the pits. This didn't work out great according to our fuel that we started the race on. So not wonderful from that perspective, but now here we go. Okay, let's go ahead and back off here. All right, as the track gets really damp, these guys behind us that have on the dry weather tires are really going to be hurting. Okay, we're not far behind second. and first. So I think we're in good shape here. There we go. They come in to take on tires. Now that brings Rodriguez up to the lead. And wow, his tire temperatures are way up. So we're going to bring him even farther down. Sergio moves up to 6th position. Again, it's used up a lot of tire based on when we had to pit. But now the key thing is going to be what happens toward the end of the race. Well, and it looks like it is going to rain right up until like the last couple of laps. Unfortunately, again, this is not falling well for us with regards to our fuel situation combined with our tire situation, but we're going to deal with it as best we can. We've got plenty of speed. As you can see, we are well out ahead of everyone else. So when we come in the next time, we should have a nice lead, and hopefully that's going to mean that as we get to the end of the race, as the track dries out, we should be in good shape. Now, I see our fuel is winding down for Sergio. We're going to go ahead and set up his pit stop. We're going to switch on to more enters, and he's only going to need 5 laps of fuel this time around. So he's going to need about, well, that's actually a little bit more than what I want, but I want him to continue to push. Okay, 38%, wow, on the engine. That's not good. That's not what we want. But we're going to go with it. We're going to continue to push. And we're going to have him push right now as well. All right, with his pit stop, go ahead and set up. Boy, I'm tempted almost to put Rodriguez on dry tires. Let's see, do I dare take that chance? I don't think so, because by the time he gets in there, that's going to be about 2 to 3 laps in the wet, on dry weather tires. So I don't think I like that idea. We're going to play it a little safe here. Okay, again, we're only going to have 4 laps left with him, which, let's see, he's going to need about, that should give him an extra lap, I think. Unfortunately, if I go any less than that, I don't think we'll be in good shape. Parts not looking all that wonderful, but that's to be expected. Okay, and it shows we'll be battling for first, but we'll see how that goes as the pit stop cycle continues. Okay, so Sergio looks like he's got his new tires, and he's going to push, and I'm going to leave him pushing for the entire time. Let's go ahead and have him push for the remainder of this lap and try to get all he can. Okay, so now he's in the pits. We are going to back this down just a little bit on the tires. All right, so now we are in second, and a couple of seconds, 4 seconds out of first. Let's see, now the leader may be planning on staying out for the remainder of the race. Let's see, yeah, he doesn't come in, but we are catching him quickly here. All right, both drivers are complaining about the engine, which makes sense because, yeah, we're toward the end, but we're too close to the end to back off now. We're going to go ahead and we're going for it. Okay, let's do back off a little bit on the tires because the tires are heating up like crazy here. And we're not that far behind the leader. We're catching him pretty quick here. Sergio is languishing back in traffic right now, so that's not good. All right, so we're looking good on the leader here, but we've got to go. Okay, 2 laps remaining. All right, we're right here on the leader. Let's see if we can't get to him. I may have to push this really hard in order to get by him. But, oh, my goodness. Now we're way down on the engine. So this is definitely not what we wanted to see. All right, so let's go ahead and ignore that. Boy, I hate to do that. But I really don't see any choice here. Let's go ahead and have him push on the tires. I mean, boy, I would hate to see this thing break, but we're going to go for it here. All right, so yeah, both engines are in terrible shape. All right, we made the move on the leader. Okay, we're in good shape now. Let's go ahead. Yes, the condition is terrible. Let's go ahead and back down to neutral here. I'm not going to back down on the engine simply because you can see he's even saying that this is getting scary. We're on the last lap. If it'll just hold together for the final part of this lap, we'll be in great shape. Let's see. Let's just have him go ahead and go into full attack mode for Sergio and see if he can pick up any spots whatsoever. All right, so we're into the final corner. And, okay, we've done it. Let's switch over to Sergio as he is pushing as hard as he can. Can he get a top 10 out of this? Nope, not quite. Okay, so I can take a breath now. So as you can tell, you know, it's extremely difficult on the engine to push the entire race. We already knew that coming in, but I knew we had a great chance. I knew we had speed. I knew we had a great chance at getting the victory. So I wanted to take this opportunity to really push the car as hard as I could, because I know this is one of those tracks, because of what the crucial parts are at this track. I knew we had a good chance at it. Now, you can see here, the guys that finished behind us in the points did this on one stop because of the rain, which turned out to be not a bad move at all. We were the only ones on a two-stop strategy until you get to the very bottom of the grid, which to me, well, I take that back. I didn't notice that when he ran a couple of laps here on the soft tires. It did what I had talked about doing with Sergio and trying to maximize lap time that way. But as it turned out, you know, running Sergio on the intermediate tires for those last couple of laps of dry weather in here, like the number 5 place finisher did, probably was the better move there. But I was trying to, again, stick with my strategy of 2 stops. Same thing here. You know, we could have done it on 1 stop, but things worked out great in the end. We got maximum points for winning the race. It was just unfortunate that we didn't get any more points for our second car as well. A look at the standings. You can see 1st and 11th in the race. So we take top position on the podium. Now, here is what really gets you. Here, you get 14 points as the race winner. Now, we also got a bonus point for being the fastest in qualifying. But then second place, you can see +6 points. So that is a huge differential there. And then you go down a couple more points to third. So winning races is a huge bonus to you in points. Now, we take a look at the driver standings. And now Rafael is up 19 points on second position, and Sergio drops down 1 position to the 7th position. But with, you know, a great finish, a podium finish, he could be right back in to the top 5. If we take a look at the team standings, we are now up 23 points over Thornton, and Boa making a little bit of a comeback here, getting back into the top 3. So that 23 points is exactly what I want to see here. And we want to continue to expand that. All right, now here's one of the things that really gets me about the game. You see, and now, most of the time I just ignore these, but you see here, it says, okay, for ZRT Autosport, you need a better driver than Rodriguez unless you want to come in last all season. Now, again, I'm not sure what they're going for here. He's leading the driver standings. We're leading the team championship. He just won this race, and yet I see a sort of a tweet that looks like this. This makes no sense to me. So I'm a little disappointed to see things like that, even though overall I don't care anything about what I see here. It's just things like that sort of take away from the experience for me. Okay, so now we'll take a look, as always, at the final couple of screens, starting with the morale. And you can see now jumps up to 95% for Rafael, which it hadn't really gone above 80, I don't believe, before that in the season. but it's hard to be unhappy when you're winning races. So up 15% there, up almost 20% for Sergio. So now we have both drivers north of 90%. Great day also in relationship status with the mechanics. And then, of course, we came in first place as far as the team standings go. Didn't get any changes here. We've basically maxed out these two as far as I can tell. Okay, we lost because we got the full bonus in the race. We only lost 217,000. Okay, we still have over 3 million remaining, which is basically where we were after the previous video, which unfortunately, as I mentioned, is not going to be usable. Here you can see in the results, fastest lap bonus and also the pole position bonus. So we got maximum points here with Rodriguez. Thank you very much for joining me in our Let's Play series, and stay tuned for more Motorsport Manager.